With EFT, you sit there, you remember the bad thing, you tap on those 7 points, you breathe, and you accept the thing just the way it was. Now, when you accept that bad thing in your life just the way it was, an important shift happens in the psyche. All the emotional energy you had around trying to control your life, around trying to manage it with positive thinking despite the bad thing, that whole psychological tension disappears. You're just saying the bad thing happened and I accept it. And that then lowers the emotional temperature. So the emotional midbrain is no longer highly aroused. When we look at people's EEGs, and I just wish I could show these to you, because we just in France in the last week did EFT with people hooked up to EEG machines, and you see beta waves, characteristic of fear and anxiety, tons and tons of beta waves when they think of a bad thing. As they begin to tap, those beta waves contract and normalize. And alpha waves, characteristic of relaxation, they get huge. And theta waves, characteristic of healing. And delta waves, characteristic of connection with the whole universal energy field. All of those waves expand. So beta shrinks, alpha expands, much more theta and delta. And you just tap these points. Again, we tapped 2 of them. This one over here earlier. This
top
one over
of the
here.
hand, the karate point on the hand.
Karate chop point on the hand. This point over here where your eyebrow meets the bridge of your nose.
Okay.
This point over here. And you can find this point over here by rubbing gently on the side of your eye. You'll feel a tiny indentation in your skull, like a little tiny dip in your skull. That's the point there. You'll find another dip right below the pupil of your eye. You'll find that with your fingertips. You tap there on that point over there. And then you tap under your nose. You tap under your lower lip. You tap this point over here on your collarbone, which is on the kidney meridian of your body. You also tap under your arm about 4 inches down with 3 or 4 fingertips. And you breathe while you do that. And you remember the bad stuff while you tap those points. Those points then send a signal to your emotional brain saying, I'm safe. I'm safe right now. The bad thing happened. And when you combine that self-acceptance statement with that memory of the bad thing, with the tapping, those 3 components, suddenly it resets your nervous system and you feel okay. And that bad thing no longer has the same degree of emotional impact.
Beautiful. How long do you tap? Do you tap for a few seconds on each one, or better for 10 or more seconds? What do you recommend?
7 to 10 times is usually enough, and you'll usually feel a big release during one of the points. So maybe you tap over here and you really feel your body getting relaxed, or you tap over here. So you'll learn after a while how your energy system works, which point's the most meaningful for you. It's different for every person.
Well, that's great to hear. I like the chest, kind of the chest thumping. And then afterwards, I call this wings, where you put your hands underneath and I almost want to laugh. So those are 2 good points for me.
First of all, let's just identify the karate chop spot. You've already seen it, on the tutorial, but it's that fleshy part of the hand that is on the outside of the hand. It's a part of your hand with which you would do a karate chop if you were to do a karate chop. So we just tap in there with 2 or more fingers while we say the following. Even though I have this sore shoulder, I deeply and completely accept myself. See, just take seconds, and that's all there is to it. So the first point is going to be the top of the head, and I usually take 4 fingertips like this, and I just put it at the top of the head right there, and I just tap around in there. I usually just cover a little larger area to make sure I got everything. And while you tap the top of the head, you say, "This sore shoulder." Okay. Some people, by the way, will just take the flat of their hand and just pat like that. You can do that as well if you wanted. The next point is we call it the eyebrow point. It's actually the beginning of the eyebrow. If you just put your fingers at the top of your nose and go up a little bit and over to one side, I went over to my right side in this case. That's the eyebrow point. Now you could have gone to the left side. That's also the eyebrow point. These are the twin points that we discussed in the tutorial, but you only need to tap one of them. So we're going to take 2 fingers and we're just going to cover a nice large area there and just tap right there while we say this sore shoulder. Okay, using the reminder phrase. The next point is the side of the eye. Now it's not back here where the temple is, it's on the actual bone on the outside corner of the eye. It's right there. And so we'll tap that with a couple of fingertips while we say a reminder phrase, this sore shoulder. The next point is under the eye. It's located about 1 inch below the pupil on that bone underneath the eye there. And we'll take a couple of fingertips and we'll tap there and say, this sore shoulder. Okay. The next point is under the nose. Easy enough. We just tap right under the nose. In fact, let me turn this way so you can see it from this angle. And as we tap, we say, this sore shoulder. See, the next point is the chin point, and that point is located midway between the between the bottom of the lip and the chin point, right in between there. In fact, I'll turn this way so you can see that. Okay, that's the chin point, and as we tap that, we say a reminder phrase, in this case, this sore shoulder. Now, the next point is a little more difficult to describe. We call it the collarbone point. It's not actually on the collarbone or what we call the clavicle. That's not really where it is. It's right at the beginning of the collarbone point. And I'm going to pull my shirt down here and get the microphone out of the way if I can. There are 2 points here, and they're located, let me see, right there. The way you find those is you take your fingertip and you put it at the base of your throat where that soft spot is, and it's also where at the very top of the breastbone there's a sort of a U. You feel it right in there. From that point you go down toward the navel about 1 inch, and then over to the right or to the left, either side. I'll go over to my right, and that's the beginning of the collarbone point, and you would tap right there. Now you'll see me tap that point a lot on the companion videos if you have those. But I'm going to show you an easier way to get to it as a beginner, and you can use this if you choose. And that would be to take your fist and to thump at the top of your breastbone about where a man would knot his tie. That's easy to do, easy to remember, and actually you'll probably cover both points as you do that. Now, the final point, and as we do that, we want to say our reminder phrase, which is this sore shoulder. Now, the last point is, we call it under the arm. But we have to be clear here. Under the arm doesn't mean like here. That's under the arm. But we mean under the arm on the rib cage. And the way you find the point is you take your fingertip, you put it in your armpit, and you go down towards your waist on your rib cage about 4 inches. And that's where the point is. And so you would either, I like to tap with like 4 fingers there. But some people just slap it like that while we say our reminder phrase, this sore shoulder. Well, another way to locate that point is for the men. It's right even with the nipple. So you just went around from the nipple, went around, there's your point. And for the ladies, where the bra strap goes across the rib cage, right in the middle of that is where you would tap it, okay?